What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Let's get out of here. That's good. Oh, wow. I'm back. Where's the other screen? Okay, there we go. Hey! Live.
Nope.
Oh, sure. Now you start to play the music, eh? There we go. The split screen. That looks good.
Yeah.
See, we got 5 people in here.
5 people.
Playing with the Rodecaster video.
Mucking about with the RCV.
I can put close that. There we go. So we've got multiple cameras here, as you can see from this setup. Dylan is off to my left and off to my right on the screen. Yeah, as we set this up backwards, technically I should be, anyways.
Yeah, compared to...
We're going to be messing with each other's heads here.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got some comments already.
It's funny, sometimes when we would do this, like remotely, like we normally do it, I would like turn and pretend like I'm looking at you, like line up with that, and so now I'm actually able to do it, and you're actually there.
I know, right? It's kind of nice. We got I Like It UK. Greetings from the UK.
Cheers.
Richard's in the house. Sup, buddy? SR375. Yo. And how are you, sirs? From King Paco. It's weird because I get the StreamYard view. You don't have the StreamYard view. You have just kind of...
Yeah, I've just the YouTube view.
It's hard to explain. Like, we don't really... out of all the cameras we have going, nothing is pointing at... We've got, like, the studio view right in front of us on a TV, so we can see what's coming out of the Rodecaster video. Let me just turn my phone off
Benefits
for a second.
of doing this in a living room.
Yeah, this is... We've got to get, like, a streaming setup. We got to get, like, a professional, like, WAN show style.
Yeah, I'd be down.
Oh, audio's a little low.
Audio's a little low.
I'm on it.
I was going to say, I just learned these buttons. I'm a little fresh.
We're on SM7Bs. So, audio output.
So which one's my camera?
You are 2.
I'm 2. Hey,
there you go.
There I
Hey.
is. Look at this. Look at this guy.
So, I think it's because we have all of the processing off.
Yeah.
Interesting. Gain up. Let's put it to 65.
I was going to say, we are on SM7's gang, obviously.
So, it's at 50 dB of gain. That's why.
Yeah, we need to
there we go.
Jack it up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's that?
We did it.
Couch Surfing Friday. That's what I like. Curious between the Rodecaster video and the Blackmagic ATEM. That's actually a great question.
That is a great question.
We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Your audio is a little low. How is it now? Let us know. Better. Thanks. Okay.
Perfect.
Couch Surfer Friday. Amen. Y'all getting fancy today.
This is where Aiden tells me he only brought up his mic and left mine at 50.
Yeah, we are quite fancy. We already drank, what is this, 80 proof?
56. 56.9%.
56.9% whiskey, and I'm a little
red breast.
I am a little woozy.
Little cask strength.
So yeah,
action
we
today.
done be fancy
we
today.
Done be fancy, and he's got a brew. I got a brew. We're doing it. We're doing it right.
The Rode Streamer X can do 4K 30. It's a shame that the Rodecaster video is only 1080p 60. I'm getting this so much, guys.
Yeah,
we've
talked about this a lot. Actually.
Yeah, Monday's video is coming out about why this is 1080p. I'm going to share a bit of it now. It's very common that a lot of people are like, well, why isn't it 4K? It's the same reason that Blackmagic hasn't released anything 4K. Because, well, they have, I don't know if Blackmagic has a 4K switcher, to be honest. Yeah, I would have to Google that. But the reason nothing is 4K is because if you look up 4K switchers, they're like $5,000. The amount that you need to make up on storage, on CPU usage, on memory, all that stuff takes the price of a switcher through the roof. There's no easy 4K switcher that's going to cost you $1,200.
No,
it's just not going to happen. And yes, you're right. The Blackmagic ATEM Mini for less than half of the Rodecaster video. You are correct, but the Rodecaster video has a couple things going for it that Blackmagic doesn't. And I know this is where Rodecaster or Rode was going with the Rodecaster video. Is they wanted it to be like the whole Rodecaster series where it's accessible video. Meaning anybody can pick up a Rodecaster video, learn it, and have a stream switcher or a video switcher. like the Rodecaster video that allowed anybody to pick up a Rodecaster video or a Rodecaster Pro and have professional audio for a podcast, rather than like, how do you set up an interface? And this just made it dirt simple. And I know Rode was going for that, and I love that they did that. The A10 Mini isn't exactly something that a person with no knowledge of video is going to be able to pick up an A10 Mini and go, I got this. There's a learning curve with that kind of stuff. Rode got rid of a lot of the learning curve with the Rodecaster video that I don't think a lot of people... Yeah, like when you get hands-on with this thing, which we don't actually have a view of the Rodecaster video, which is actually a little disappointing. Yeah. We get hands-on with it. It is...
We got like 4 cameras.
It is dirt simple, man.
And nothing on the RCB.
And it's so intense. I should ask, what's my... what does my audio and video... Is there a lag?
Yeah, is there any lag? Are we synced up, guys?
I think
issues?
You're off a little bit.
I'm a little off.
There's little things that this thing has, like you can set the latency on video. So we can technically sync up our latency so we're perfect. I think I have it to a 5-frame latency. So, I mean, it's kind of... we'll see. Let us know if it's set up or not. Who, again, is 4K streaming? And you know what? It's not about the streaming aspect of 4K. The output on the Streamer X is because it's a single video file. When you get into video switchers like this, you're talking about not just streaming the video out at 4K, but you're talking about combining. You're talking about multiple 4K into one. You're talking about the processing power, because video switchers have to take a raw signal from my Sony A7C II and turn it into something that's not raw. So there's processing, there's compression, there's all these things happening inside that switcher.
No, and I will say too, like I don't think there's any debate as to whether or not 4K is better than 1080p. Obviously, 3160p is clearly better. But you know, if you're let's say a content creator for YouTube, for example, 63% of the watching on YouTube is on mobile, right?
Yeah.
That means that and I hate to say it, for most people, 4K on a like a mobile device like an iPhone is indistinguishable from 1080p. So, and the internal hardware requirements to do what Rode has done with this, you apply that with a 4K standard, and the cost of production exceeds exponentially, higher. Right. So as most of the products, as Aiden was saying, in the market, these are way more cost prohibitive. You're up in the $3,000, basically the price of a new high-end camera. And
I just want to point out, on HDMI 4, they couldn't even afford color. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, by the way.
That was a last-minute production decision.
I'm kidding. I am kidding. We're going through all the camera angles. By the way, we should take you through. This is camera 1. This is the Sony A7C II. All of my lenses are wide angle.
Photobombed you.
Which is why all of these, like, this thing is about 7 feet away from me, and my God, I'm even punched in. This isn't even the full frame view. This is the crop sensor view.
The full frame would catch this whole
it was ridiculous. Like, we have this one is the second. This is the Canon T7i, which is kind of off center, but it works.
It works.
That one's again about 7 feet away because it's got an 18-35 Sigma on it. Then this is the GoPro Hero 11 that we have set up over there. It's a little bit of a fisheye, which means Dylan's a little bit bigger than me.
Bigger.
And then we have the Nikon.
It does no favors for my nose.
D700?
D7500, yeah.
D7500. And that is kind of sitting about 10 feet off to that. And we decided to go black and white with that. And
that was
then
a very last minute decision.
Then we have one overlay. This is the Friday Live. Aiden Wolf, Dylan Alone.
He loves that font, let me tell you.
Man, that font is awesome. That's American Captain, I'll have you know. I use that for all my thumbnails. This is just my logo down on the bottom. There's another overlay. Again, we've got a couple of these. I've been kind of going nuts with these things.
And so you can also fade in and out of those overlays too if you wanted to, right?
Yeah, I've got it set really. So let's set
I was gonna say you got it like snap transition, like hypothetically.
Okay, so the overlays not so much.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. Again, all the nice thing about this is so much of this functionality is reliant on software controls, and so that means that this thing, and Rode has demonstrated many times, and a lot of really good ideas have come from people on things that can be improved on this product, and a lot of those can be augmented through software. So I think there's a lot of potential here. It already is super capable, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's there's a lot more coming, I think, for this.
Yeah.
Similar to as we've seen just through Rode Central with the other Rodecaster line, right?
Yeah.
There's been lots of improvements and change, like virtual channels, Exhibit A, right?
I love there's some non-love for the black and white.
Yeah.
They can't make it perfect on the first release, right? That's
no, it's
Richard.
gotta be a little quirk. That'll be a little quirky.
You know what? And I think like little things that somebody brought up, like a hardware mute on your mics. I mean, as soon as we got here and we're like, shit, we could use a mute, and you can do it through software, but it would be really nice on the unit to have just a mute.
Yeah.
So we can come in with a blank screen and you can't hear our mics. We turn our mics on, we go live. I like that.
Or at least, some assignable keys, right? That you could, assign to as a global mute.
Yeah. And like, it's little things like that like all you got to do is hit Rode up, and I guarantee you there's going to be a firmware update where that shit's going to end up on the unit. And, it's not about making it perfect, because I've wanted to talk about this unit since February.
Yeah, it's been on the radar for a while.
I've known about this since February, and I've been like, oh my God. I was kind of playing around with it. I couldn't do a lot with it with it during live streams, because it would take my attention away, and I'm just like playing with buttons. And I also didn't want, because everyone knew something from Rode was coming.
Yeah.
So I didn't want them to instantly watch my stream and go, okay, it's a video switcher, right? Like you don't want to play your hand too much. So, but the amount of stuff that's already packed in here and the amount of usability that's in this thing, it's not unusual that they would still have a few things that they haven't gotten around to. And Rode has always been really good at like the live updates.
Yeah, but I think it's really important, though, to acknowledge that as a kind of a first, like, hey, this is what we got. This is what we came up with. This thing is super capable.
Yeah.
Like especially, I don't know, even for the price point, I know it's $1,200. That's a steep ask for a lot of people. Money's tight, but it's
if you want a video switcher,
and even as like a tool to assist you in production of regular content, right?
Yeah.
If you're kind of wanting to maybe sort of do some quasi editing on the fly, record all your feeds simultaneously, which this lets you do. Like, imagine doing that in 4K, trying to record 4K feeds to a hard drive at the same time.
Each one would need their own hard drive.
Literally, yeah.
So, and I go over this in Monday's video. Like, I went over one of the 4K files off my Sony A7C II, which is a full frame, but it's at the lowest end of full frame 4K, meaning some of the higher alpha cameras through Sony have better color science. They have better, all the things that make the files bigger.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And this thing on a 20-minute shoot was a 77 gig file on a 20-minute A-roll shoot. So that means, I think it's like 300, or with four, that would be a 20 minutes, 380, I think it is, gigs. And then if you do that over an hour, it's just under a terabyte of video.
Yeah.
It's just on 1 hour of recording 4K. And then it's like, well, I wouldn't be using something so high, but they would have to release it to be able to be used by that, right? Like Rode wouldn't release something for 4K webcams.
I'm going to say something controversial. I think 1080p is still perfectly acceptable.
And that's the thing.
As a professional output for content.
And
4K is great. If you've got the real estate and you've got the budget to accommodate a fully 4K-ized workflow.
Yep.
You give her. Yeah.
Hey guys, you're even getting free feet from me here, by the way. I looked at some of the stats from around the world and how much 4K is being used. It's less than 5% that 4K is actually utilized, except for on phones. But even with phones, most resolutions on phones are still at 720.
And I, I'll speak to the artisans out there, right? There's a lot of people that love 4K, passionate about the smoothness, the texture of it, right?
Come on, I can't get the thumbs up. Come on.
Yeah.
Go ahead, continue, dude.
But there's, I think for the added benefit, and again, people with devices that are enabled for 4K, obviously, and have internet speeds that can manage 4K, and all of those factors, it is a really underutilized delivery format for most people, most households, right? Even you look at stats from like Netflix, like what people are watching movies on, 4K is still an extreme minority.
Because it's so expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And the reason they do that with Netflix is because storage and streaming, man.
Yeah.
Like it's expensive to send that much data over one line.
Especially when you consider that Netflix has, for people that maybe don't know this, Netflix has fulfillment servers in most major ISPs. And so the reason they have those is to encourage you or to increase the performance of the server, so it's not bouncing from somewhere in Finland. So they have localized servers that would store the video content, and need to stream like 4K to multiple systems. So if you had an extreme, I don't know if the infrastructure would support people watching more 4K stuff.
Beresford says, "Holy shit, you're in the same room." Yeah, this is Dylan's living room.
Yes.
So
it's weird. I'm still getting used to it.
I mean, again, like it would be nice to have like a WAN show style setup where we could like be sitting at a U-shaped table and be chatting.
Yeah.
It's not plausible right now, but I do see it in the near future. I've been looking at properties and I'm not far off. By the way, the black and white does not go over well.
No, yeah.
People don't like it.
Don't like that.
No one likes it. Apparently, the lag is worse on the... And you know what? Leave it up to the Nikon to have shitty lag.
Yeah.
So, like, I've been looking at properties for Dark Corner Studios, and I could technically get one now. I can afford the square footage. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Like, it takes out of the bottom line a lot. And where I'm still...
and you got to have a plan for how you're going to use it. I think that's the big thing, is because once you are starting to drop as an operational expense, as a business, when you start investing in a space, you need to get as much money out of that space as possible.
Yep. And that's the thing. Like, I would love it. I'm not ready to go to work every day and work in a silent room alone. The basement's nice because I'm home. But there is a point where, like, once I have Dylan on full time, at some point in however long of a future that is, if it ever could happen, then there's somebody in the building with me, and that's great. I can go to work every day. That's awesome. But for now, I'm like,
it makes it a little bit more practical to do stuff like this, right?
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like, I don't mind doing this. This is kind of like one of those things you'll look back on fondly in a few years doing content creation.
Yeah.
It's like kind of the old setups with the WAN show, where you're like, oh yeah, remember when they used to be in a garage? It is like, I'm hoping one day we'll look back on this and go, aw,
yeah,
it was so sweet. Relaxing. How's it going?
Chilling.
No lag here, Richard. Awesome. We are way behind in, oh my God.
And also, guys, like if you like, let us know what you think of this kind of format of stream. Like, let us know if you like. We're a little rough around the edges, obviously. Exhibit,
I think this is
A.
Yeah, I think this is better than the dual setup we usually use.
But like, let us know if you care, or if this is something, because we can do this kind of stuff more often. The Rodecaster video makes doing something like this surprisingly easy.
Yeah,
especially once you're configured.
But this is the thing. Like, I didn't put a ton of time into putting scenes together. Like, for somebody that's going to really work their ass off on putting graphics together, doing overlays, this is the shit. But when it's like, kind of my level of effort, which isn't because I'm not willing to put the effort in, it's because I don't have time. So I got to talk about the shooting experience of shooting the Rodecaster video was freaking miserable. Like, absolutely miserable. And it's not the Rodecaster video. It's kind of my fault. But like, I had a mini emotional breakdown over the weekend. Like, I was like done.
Yeah, it's been a week, eh?
Yeah, this whole week has been dog shit. So yeah, I don't know where I was going. Oh, anyways, I like UK. Some cameras like Sony have better image quality at 4K than 1080p. Or I believe you meant that the other way. Sensor is a big thing, right? And that's why when you get up the higher levels of Sony Alpha series cameras, you can get some really crisp 1080p. The lens matters. There's a ton of things that really come into play. But then when you're talking image quality and size, sensor matters, all those little things. Dylan's changing with his toes. We can see you on that angle. We can see your toes change it, man. And now you've got
to do that. I was trying to do that discreetly. It didn't work.
I saw your toes do it, man. Gross.
And so did the entire internet.
The whole internet. Like,
okay, I shower.
All 23 people that are in here are seeing the sole of my foot, so don't worry about it.
It's all good. We get some foot action.
Get that logic out of here. This is the internet. We're here to complain about things most of us will never own. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Let's like go on Gearspace, right? Go on Gearspace for 10 minutes and just read the top few threads and just the like, oh man, the U87 AI is shit. It'll never do anything good for you. It's like, what are you talking about?
I love this SR375. There seems to be some color white balance differences. That's because we didn't set any of it up. We have 4 different cameras.
Yeah.
All shooting.
Yeah, I did offer to tweak my white balance, but the irony of that is I offered to tweak the white balance on the camera that's freaking
black and white. Yeah, that's the one that's got a white balance tweak. Yeah. I know, I get why. It's jarring. However, for living room video with poor lighting, that's the thing, right? Like, this is... I would love to do something more like this, but the problem with this setup is you can't really get better than this for video.
We could, like, I could have brought out a couple more soft boxes, and we could have done this a little bit better.
If you saw this room and how crowded it was right now.
Yeah, even right now, like, if I don't know, if you wanted to do anything in here, like the stands and tripods around us.
It's pretty bad. Jerker, the contrast to seeing the afternoon daylight in your stream while it's pitch dark close to midnight over here.
Yeah, jet lag. Yeah,
and you're used to my basement, which is very light controlled. And that's the thing about when you have a studio, even Dylan's studio is very controlled.
Yes.
In audio and video. So but then you need a big enough space to have 2 people sitting doing something like this.
I did think, before you got here, before we started setting up, I did think about, could we do a stream like this in the studio? Because that could give us some interesting, stuff to do live, right?
Background Maddie stuff,
or just having a nice background. Like maybe if we do this again, in the not too distant future, if people are into this idea, we'll do this actually in the studio, and that'll give us a little more light control.
Yeah, this is the thing, right? Like. But this is why, like, if you came over to my place, we could have done one of these in the basement.
Yeah.
Especially, I'm rejigging my basement where we can have more room, which would be a big deal.
Yes.
So it's
very big deal.
It's a matter of, like, I'm working out of a basement still. This is part and parcel. I really wanted to come over here and kind of showcase how we're doing this, because this is the Rodecaster video and all that stuff. So, is this our usual backdrop? No. Well, every once in a while.
Tell us how you got that backdrop, Aiden.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I'll come over to Dylan's and we can do this. This is a good one. I like it, UK. Can one PC and the video output be sent to another? I cannot install software on my work laptop. So, yes. You can have one of the outputs on the Rodecaster video can go to a second PC as just a video output. So it's a video. It's the program.
Yeah, I don't think you used it in your video, but we did a quick, like, off the cuff Facebook Messenger video call with it.
That's right.
That was weird.
I completely forgot about that.
I'm like looking at it because I called his computer from my phone.
Yeah.
And so I was looking at it on my phone we're like fading between cameras.
Yeah,
and whoa.
It's a Facebook Messenger phone call.
Yeah, you could literally use this thing essentially as a camera, as a capture source. It's wild.
And so you can one of the USB-C 1 is the program feed out. I think that's what you're asking, by the way.
$1,200, and you can do this stuff.
Some pretty sweet Facebook Messenger videos.
Some pretty great Teams calls for work.
Each guest having a mute button. That is a great idea.
100%. More control on the unit for the audio inputs in general.
Yeah.
I think the idea here was, maybe that you would buy a Rodecaster Duo, right, and pair it with the unit as well, because that you can do that, guys. This is a modular system.
Yep.
You could pair a full Rodecaster. Is there a limit? Do you know to how many units you can pair?
One.
Like how many units in the Rodecaster series you can pair together?
One. You can put one Rodecaster Pro onto this.
Okay, so you couldn't do like, 5
Well,
or 6.
technically, I believe you can do 2 because you have 2 USB inputs. I don't know how that would fly. I guess maybe that's a video idea. How many Roadcasters can you hook up to a Rodecaster video?
That would be a neat thing. And again, this is a heavy lift, so I'm certainly not criticizing Rode for this by any stretch. But eventually having like a Dante-like capability. I'm not
Why
saying...
isn't it got Dante Road? Why isn't it?
That's why I did the disclaimer.
That's fucking hilarious. I can just see Peter watching the video going, are you fucking kidding me? Why doesn't it have Dante?
My phone just started ringing. Oh, there he is now. Yeah. No. No. But I'm saying and again, I'm not saying specifically Dante because that's an ask. But having a modular architecture where you can through something like Ethernet or over the same Wi-Fi network, sort of chain devices together, like even LiveWire support.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Dante, I believe, is pricier than LiveWire because it's more flexible. I think.
Does anything come out on LiveWire anymore?
A broadcast stuff?
Yeah, broadcast stuff, I guess. So.
So you're getting into that. But, I mean, if it's within your own kind of closed ecosystem, it doesn't matter. Because, obviously, if all your devices have an AES 67 port, then...
So, Daniel has a very interesting question. And that question is, are you connecting the GoPro via USB-C or HDMI with Media Mod to the Rodecaster video? This is through the Media Mod. And this is a very good reason. I actually purchased, a Insta360 Ace. Yeah, Insta360 Ace. I thought I was buying the Ace Pro. Okay, I'm over here. This is the. This is
your. We need tally lights now.
Yeah, you definitely need a tally light.
I think I said that when we did stuff on this.
Well, actually, when I first saw this in February, they asked us. They're like, "What's your feedback?" I'm like, "Tally light system would be awesome." I love
this camera. It shows my amazing hairline.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's on wide. Well, that's actually wasn't on wide angle even. Anyways, the video output on USB-C, the webcam output that they use, at this point isn't something that can be recognized on the Rodecaster video. I tried because the Ace only has, it only does, I forget, it's YUV output. Rode explained to me in a video, like in an email, what the output that isn't capable of being read right now. I don't know if this is something that's coming in the future. I ended up spending a lot of money on this Rodecaster video. I'm not even kidding you. I'm past $1,200. And that is because, one, I wanted to have a multi-camera setup. Actually, I'm closer to 2,000 because of another lens that I just bought today. Because I'm trying to I was trying to get as many video sources as cheaply as possible. I picked up the Ace thinking that would be a video source through USB. It ended up not working. I picked up this is the GoPro Hero 11 Black, which the reason I picked this up is because I could get the Media Mod and it would work. But then the Media Mod's an extra $100. But then you've got to get the link so you can set it up on a boom arm, because it's the GoPro attachment. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Why doesn't it have a quarter-inch? Anyways,
very convoluted.
All these things I've gone through to get this video out, and rightfully so. You need multiple video out. And for a channel let's say Tom Buck, Tom's already got a bunch of cameras. Yeah. Tom's already got all this stuff set up.
Well, and I think the big thing is an environment, right? I think in this case, you need a decently large space to have an effective live stream, to be able to get all the flexibility that you need to get a good output from it, to get a good content. We've got some okay camera angles here, despite our
we threw this together.
Black and white catastrophe.
You can change that if you want.
I know. I've been thinking about getting up and.
They are right though. There is a more of a delay on the black and white than there is on this.
Probably because of the black and white process.
Yeah. But like the next question from Danielle is in case both are possible, which connection would be the best? As I've seen with USB-C camera connections, I did have a webcam set up. I didn't showcase it in the video because the webcam was such like dog shit that it wasn't even worth it. And also webcams aren't known for smooth operation when you move them around. So it was actually quite ugly. I got rid of that, but the USB-C connection was just as good as the HDMI. I didn't seem to have any problems. I can imagine long term HDMI is probably going to be better, but I also can't exactly say that either. Could always broadcast from a storage locker. I've thought about that. It's cheaper. But in Ottawa here, you can get business space for $1 a square foot. And if I had, so my basement right now is about like pushing 300 square feet, but that's probably more. I would say, yeah, maybe 280. So if I got 1,000 square feet, I could have 4 different backdrops, and all the space in the world to do everything I wanted if I had 1,000 square feet. So $1,000 a month is very doable with this YouTube setup. So it's a thought. We'll see. Oh, there you go. See, the only problem is there is a latency between the video.
So the audio delay, is that a per camera? Like, can you adjust individual? Because different cameras would have different delays.
No. So go back to that. So that camera's on 4. Mm-hmm. So go into settings, video, storage, device, audio delay.
Nice.
So it's just 5 frames across the board. Okay. So it's for the device.
Yeah. So if you do have different cameras with different internal, like this like as a DSLR, it's not designed for live streaming, and so obviously the HDMI output latency is going to be probably higher than all of these cameras.
Yeah.
But
I less than 3 FGC. I less than 3 field goals. I don't know. So I've been wondering how good the chroma key features for the Rodecaster.
That's a good question.
I just got in my green screen. I had it ordered for the video and it just never came in.
Aiden's gone to the dark side.
However, you'll watch my review and I put on blue screen, and even my glasses, I was moving my head around. I didn't see any clipping on it. It seemed really good. I haven't tested it yet. I'm getting the green screen set up, and I'm going to actually do a video on that. I also want to do a video on scene setups, like setting up scenes on the Rodecaster video, because like I've been doing them rather hastily for this kind of stuff. As you can see, the borders don't exactly like line up. But I would love to kind of do a walkthrough. I do have a feeling though, with all of the input they've gotten, there's going to be a pretty quick update that might make one of those videos obsolete. So I'm considering waiting just to check with Rode to see if they're like planning an update or an overhaul on how scene setups happen. Like one of the questions I had was like the borders. So when I go and I turn borders on for this stuff, and I actually go back to that scene. So when I'm doing the scene setup,
oh, you're up there.
You keep changing, man. And I'm changing these borders. Let's put this to 30. There, we got a black border. Let's change the color to burnt orange. There we go.
Nice.
Like, I would like to...
you know what? That actually kind of goes decently with the background.
Yeah. But then you've got your camera, which is camera 2, isn't big enough, so I can, like, squeeze that over a little bit. It's a little too big. So, but, like, little things, like, I would like to make the borders different colors, maybe. You can't do that.
No.
I would like to make, one border live, so when the border's active, when I'm talking, the border becomes active a different color, and then when Dylan is talking, his becomes a different color. Little things like that would
that'd be neat.
It'd make a big difference with this, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a chance that at some point in the near future they might be overhauling and doing some of these requests, because I don't think it's going to be hard to kind of put some of that stuff in, like just the ability to change the borders separately for each video source should be plausible.
Yeah.
So I don't know where we got off that. Have you considered taking sponsorships of non-audio related products to finance your channel?
Earlier, yeah.
Would be extremely funny to see you talking about products to shave your privates with. Yes, I will be. And I have no qualms about doing manscaping ads on my channel.
Manscaped.
Yeah, Manscaped. Yeah. I have no problem with doing those things. And if people do, like, I'm trying to feed my family off this, man. I'm trying to make it my job.
Well, and I mean, you're making a good go of it.
There's a threshold on YouTube channels for you to be able to adequately sell ad space that you do a live read on. You tend to need 10,000 views per video within the first month. So before you can start selling ad space, a lot of people will go out and they'll get a sales team. So there's actual like companies set up where they'll bring you under a banner and they'll give you a certain X amount of money. All you got to do is live reads for these certain people and but you don't get as much money. I'm planning on hiring my own salespeople that are going to be able to go out and get me Manscaped, to get me all those things. And this is literally, once you have that, you're talking about an exponential growth in the channel. Once you can sell your own ad space, you're in the thousands. So like an ad spot is $2,000 at 10,000. And now you have 4 of those a month. So you're making $8,000 a month just on ad spots. That's when your channel gets to grow. That's when you get to like,
well, that's basically when you become like a kind of a full-fledged business.
You are 100%. Right now, I'm still a small channel where I was planning this year to actually get to that point. But because there was such a stagnant growth in audio this year, like the Rodecaster video is the biggest thing to come out this year. No chance in hell. The next biggest thing to come out was the Rode Interview Pro, which was back in March. I think it was March.
That far back?
It was in March. In between those two things, nothing has happened.
Hey, well, no, there was the H4 Essential.
Okay, the H series came out. The H Essentials.
I know that you kind of had a little bit.
I know, yeah. Those were big videos too.
Yeah.
But nothing else has really come out, and I mean, Elgato came out with their Wave thing that kind of connects together. I even bought one. Still have a video coming out on that, but nothing really came out that was going to move on the channel, which is kind of disappointing. But I know like. Every year is not going to be like mind-blowing and new releases, and that's okay. We're not like, these aren't like cell phones. There isn't a new release every year.
Well, we've heard a lot about Moore's Law, right? The Moore's Law, the idea that computer power doubles every 10 years. That's slowing down because we're kind of hitting as far as just raw processing power and our understanding of kind of physics and how programming can change physics, right? Like, how is our audio right now? It's a good kind of weird segue. We're going through obviously the audio inputs of the Rodecaster video. There's not.
We
a
have
ton of
processing on.
We have a little bit of processing, yeah. We have a little bit of compression.
The gate's off.
Gate is off. We're using the SM7B preset for the most part.
Yeah, both of us have been.
Yeah, de-esser. My S is, I got a space between my two fronties, so it just rips right off the this SM7B.
Hey.
Aiden found it interesting that my DS point was 8 kilohertz.
Do you want a high pass filter? You get one. You got a high pass filter now.
I'm beside an air conditioner, so that's probably effective.
Not for a high pass filter, no. I'll put one on mine too. Okay. I forget where we were. See, this is the problem when you add alcohol to this.
Yeah.
I like a UK.
Look what you did.
I know.
This is what you did.
Yeah, that's me. In the same room, so far, has more energy. 100%. Or is it the alcohol you both have had?
No, honestly, I think part of it is like, I don't know, you and I both did broadcasts.
Yeah, I've done this.
Yeah,
a morning show.
Being in the room with somebody, and it's a different thing, right?
Yep.
This is stuff you don't get in a video call.
But you also can't talk over each other when you're on a video call, like on StreamYards, because you kind of cancel each other out.
And also there's a latency between when you talk and and so there's mismatch there. In this case, our conversationalism is a lot more natural.
Live.
It's live. It's
live. And when I did a morning show pre-COVID, it used to be like I don't run a tight ship, but when you're set, like my style of a morning show was, I was very I go for the funny all the time. Always going for the funny. And so I would have obvious cues for my co-host, where to kick in, where to bring in, like you're literally like lining up a child to hit a ball out of the park.
Yeah.
And when you go and when COVID hit and I had to go to this like multi-camera setup, and because you had to be on camera with your co-host because you had to see each other. So when you're talking, you know when the other person wants to interject. But there was this like maybe like 3/4 of a second delay. So you'd be like setting them up for a joke. And then there'd be this wait, and then they'd hit the joke, and it's like, wow, that really sucks when that happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is an actual definable energy that gets sapped out of the room when you're not in the same room.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons. Again, you know, as human beings, we spend most of our life kind of communicating with a certain cadence.
I love this question.
What do you got?
I like it, UK. Why is your live stream at 720p? You know what?
That is not the Rodecaster.
Something you have not noticed this whole time is every live stream has been. The problem is that is StreamYard.
Yeah.
Not allowing us to have more than 720. And that's something you have to pay extra. If you want to have 1080, you have to pay extra StreamYard.
I have a critique of this, but I'm not.
No, we have. So once I run out of this, I'm planning all of our live stream is going to be going through the Rodecaster video, through OBS. That is the next stage of the live stream. I don't know when. I think I'm good till November with StreamYard, but I'm sucking every penny out of this deal. Yeah. Like I'm going to use the comments are the big one. This is one of the things that I really like. I want to find a system where I can use YouTube comments in OBS, but I think I'm going to use, what is it called? StreamYard OBS?
I think.
Where it's a paid system. I'm going to be moving over to that. So yes, bear with us. We're going to be going back to 1080 streams soon. Just added auto gain control hardware to my setup. I never realized how badly normalized so much audio is. Games podcast AGC is amazing. I have no idea what auto gain control is. I know what auto gain control is as a concept.
I was just gonna say, what?
But what auto gain control hardware did you add, and how badly normalized so much audio is? Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Most people don't normalize. You talk about games. Games are on the top end of like the loudness wars. A lot of media nowadays, games, even like Netflix and all that is like really, really loud. But then you get to a podcast and there is a standard for it, neg 18. But people don't follow the standards very much, which is really frustrating.
Well, and
so the auto gain control hardware basically controls the output.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm thinking about an input, auto gain control on an input.
And honestly, in the broadcast space right now, you know, kind of where I work, this is a huge issue right now, is the different loudness standards for different places. Radio spots designed for OTA, over-the-air radio, are loud. Right? You know, they're loud because it's a push audience, right? You're pushing at people. Whereas, you know, digital, for example, like today I had 8 spots for the same client and 8 spots that also needed to be made for digital. So now 8 spots is 16 spots. And so I've made up a template that automatically mixes to those 2 different level standards because nice. Digital is neg 16 LKFS. That's the integrated measurement. Your integrated loudness of your spot or your content has to be neg 16. Radio, I mean, there's a limiter there, and it's doing a lot. That's all I'm going to say.
Heavy on the limiter.
Whereas on my digital mix, the limiter's not even touching it.
Yeah.
The limiter is kind of calibrating my output level. But, and so, you know, those different, like podcast is the same as digital. Podcast, you have a captive audience. You don't need to yell at them.
No, you just need to make sure that everything's relatively level.
Yeah, everything's level. Everything is consistent.
Yep.
Consistency is important. But again, you don't need to punch them in the side of the head. I did a jingle for a client a few years back, a Greater Ontario kind of automotive client. And when we had made it, I asked them, like, what do you want this for in terms of, like, what is the delivery? And they're like, okay, it's for radio. The 30s for radio. I'm like, all right, okay. So I made a jingle that was for radio. The client gets a call from somebody listening to one of our podcasts that the company that I work for puts out, and they're like, hey, this is a terrible ad. My head's getting ripped off. Like, the client gets a call. And then so they call us, they're like, oh, geez, we need, so I had to kind of remix the jingle. I know what to do, but it was like, we need to know where it's going, because where it's going will drastically impact my approach to the final sound.
I mean, I think we need like universal. We need to be
think,
universal.
I think radio, in my opinion, transmitter processing should be able to bridge the gap, right? We know that between the stuff that I put into the automation system that hits the air, and the stuff, and when what the transmitter process, the OR bands, what they're doing to it, there is that should be able to bridge the gap. I shouldn't have to mix my content to cater to that. That should already happen.
Yeah. Let's burn through. We are far behind in comments.
Yeah, because I'm talking.
So, Greg Alge, internet rule number 1: don't feed the trolls. I generally don't. I generally try to call them out. I've gotten really bad for doing that kind of stuff, and I get really involved in it. But yeah. By the way, welcome to the stream, Greg. I don't think I've seen you. I could be wrong. There's a lot of names that come through, but I don't think I've seen you. We've got Gapes. Get a chance, watch Mark Bennett's Camera Crisis YouTube channel. He uses multiple Sony cameras and outputs solely via USB webcam for 4K live streams using Ecamm Live. Yeah, I've thought about that. Sounds fun. I might check that out. Basement, not creepy at all. SR375. It's not creepy whatsoever.
What are we talking about?
Nuno, how's it going, buddy? Action Podcast is late. Go sit in the corner with the dunce cap up on.
Yeah.
Beer cold chili and Doritos. Now your stream. Oh, chili and Doritos.
Was it? Shrimp?
I'm hungry.
Was it Shrimp or Ken that used to get the dunce cap?
That was Ken. I haven't
Ken.
seen Ken in a while.
I miss Ken.
Where's
If you're
Ken?
out there, let us know.
We miss you.
We miss you.
Insta360 announcing new 8K action cam in October. Yeah, I've only jumped in. I really like their Ace Pro line for getting cinematic stuff. I don't know if I'm going to save the camera. I paid like $500 for it. I might keep it. I'm not sure. I don't need two action cams.
You still have it.
I still have it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I've got a lot of cameras. Gear Junkie accidentally stumbled across a Canon Cinema series of video cameras. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's goals. Like, I've thought about doing the Cinema series for Sony because I am planning on moving over to Sony. I love the Canon color science. I find Sony to be a little more accessible is the best way to put it. I don't think Canon's very accessible when it comes to their lenses or their bodies, but yeah. Yeah, Canon's got some nice shit. Action live in the UK broadcast from an actual cupboard, 1,000 square feet. That's stuff of dreams, right?
Yeah. Even like where we are right now, like it's essentially 3 rooms plus a bathroom, and I mean they're decent rooms. One is the studio, one is our bedroom, me and my partner, and then there's kind of living room, kitchen, dining room combo L.
Yeah, you've got about 800 square feet here.
Yep, it's a good space.
Yeah.
It does what I need it to do. I like the open concept. That's it makes cleaning things way easy.
Yeah.
But within the living space, feels big. But then again, when you've got how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah,
and then
got a
cables going everywhere. That is the one thing, and I brought this up to Aiden about the problem that I've always had with desktop interfaces. Whether it's and again, so it's not direct criticism of the Rodecaster video. It's a style, right? There's lots of hardware that is this style that people love. The AudioFuse Studio by Arturia, that's a perfect example. They're messy. And so, that's going to piss people off, but they're messy, right? We've got, I wish we had a camera on the Rodecaster
Well,
video.
you could technically grab the action camera.
Yeah,
just spin it off.
Bring it up. Yeah.
You unplug it and spin it off and replug it in.
On a stand. I could probably just move that. But you've got a ton of HDMI cables. You've got obviously power. You've got your mic cables. Like it's a spaghetti factory. And so if you're smart about your space and you plan for that, like if you've got a grommet right behind that, like that's my Mackie. So in my studio I have a Mackie. It's more there for show. It's connected. Everything's rigged up.
It is pretty.
It's just for throwing signals around, really. Everything that's critical goes through rack mount gear, as I was just showing Aiden earlier. Yeah, maybe we will just stream from the studio because I think there's some interesting stuff
It's
in
going
there.
to be hot and it's going to be small.
Oh, I'll bring the AC in there. We'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be,
We'll be fine. But you know, like everything is rack based. But for my Mackie, I've got a grommet in the desk right behind it. So everything that comes out of, and the grommet's like yay big, like it's probably 3 or 4 inches diameter. And so everything that comes out, even the power, goes down in that grommet. It keeps everything nice and tidy, nice and clean. You know, for me, having a well-organized space like that is important because we've got hundreds of cables.
I
going
like
everywhere.
Yellowtech's approach. Yellowtech has a separate unit for all the cabling, and then it's just a one cable connector between the two of them.
Yeah, well, and so that would be an idea for something. Again, the Rodecaster video is awesome because it has so many inputs. But from a logistics standpoint, if you're trying to plan, if you have a permanent place, right now it doesn't matter because this is a makeshift setup, right? This is a kind of a temporary configuration. If you've got a permanent configuration for the Rodecaster video, you can plan for this kind of stuff. So having what Aiden said, having kind of a head and body where you've got like a kind of a cable center, and then you've got like a bulk, like a ribbon cable that goes up into the unit or something. Obviously not a literal ribbon cable because that would be very breakable. But some kind of large pinout. Like I was just showing Aiden in the studio, I have a lot of DB25 cables going everywhere, and DB25 cables are like yay thick, and they are essentially 25 conductors in a snake. And so, having something like that going between a head that's got your controls, so you're really flexible where you can put your controls, and then your body that has all your inputs, your HDMI's, your USBs, your power, right? All that stuff.
Definitely not going to be a 4K switcher at that point.
No, and also, not going to be... not going to be a $1,200 piece.
That's true.
When you get into head body configurations, you're getting into modularity, and modularity
the
is
new
expensive.
Yellowtech. Oh, it looks so fucking nice.
Yeah.
I want one. I listened 3 FGC. Fighting game community. Had to cover that off.
Nice.
Fundamentals of chroma keys, regardless of hardware, lack of good lighting can wreck any equipment's ability to process chroma key correctly. Yes, lighting is massive with chroma key.
Yep.
So
and lighting your chroma especially, right? And making sure the lighting of your chroma is uniform.
Yeah, my results will vary with your results. So the grand hardware versus software debate continues. It's so hard. OBS is so flexible, but hardware is always usually more stable. That's Richard Mitchell. Yeah, like this thing, the ability to use the Rodecaster video to stream. I've got to figure out a way to get an output of my computer with the chat over to the Rodecaster video. Having the chat enabled somehow, I don't know how we can do that. I know that there's probably going to be third-party stuff that integrates with the Rodecaster video with the streaming. So when you stream directly from the device, I can't wait till people start coming.
I have an idea.
What's that?
Dynamic overlays.
That would be awesome.
I mean, so overlays are already things. There's already infrastructure to do that. Can we have overlays that connect to like an internal, like an RSS type feed, right?
Well, that you can get
software.
when you put your stream key in from YouTube. That's the same way that OBS does it.
Yeah.
OBS you have a chat you can, but I think it's only through Twitch. I don't know if it works for YouTube. I'll have to look into it. My streaming days are just beginning, kids. So we'll see how that goes. SR375, Aiden's sex toy endorsements. Does it make me twitch while I'm doing this video? We'll find out by the end.
Hey man, you did that one book. I mean,
That one book.
You are a
Yeah,
pro.
that
you
one
are
book.
literally a professional.
Can this toy make my eye twitch by the end of the video? Find out coming up in just a few. Podcast. If telling people to shave their balls puts bread on the table, I say go forth, my bald sacked friend. You know what? I don't care. Like I'm willing to. Like you listen to the podcasts where they're like, and brought to you by Manscaped. Whatever. If it pays the bills, who cares?
Yeah.
I love hearing that stuff. I don't listen to I skip over a lot of the what do you call it? The host read ads. Mm-hmm. I skip over a lot of that. Mostly because most of them make them 2-minute ads, which is absolutely ridiculous that you would make it a 2-minute ad. Like, I think I would max it out at a 1-minute ad, and that's it. Some podcasts, though, they just drone. I think the new device has made tour hex noise absorbing tiles fall off the wall. Yeah, this is my actual background of my studio. You guys just have never seen it. It's always been a green
Yeah.
screen up till this point.
Yeah, now the more I think about it, the more I think it would have been maybe a little bit more pertinent to do this in an actual like audio environment.
This
The
is-
living room vibe, like, yeah. Let us know in the comments. What do you guys think of the living room casual vibe?
Well, as the sun goes down, you can see that
We're getting yellow.
the vibe has changed.
Yeah, we're getting yellow.
Richard
Especially this freaking camera. Oh my
Richard
God.
Mitchell, I'd rather see you make a few nice looking sets versus spending a ton of time green screening.
Yes.
The green screen I bought is not for this channel. It's for my second channel. I do want to make some green screen videos on how to green screen with the Rodecaster video, but I'm not introducing green screen to this channel. Like I thought about, because I'm actually planning on blowing up my whole studio and reconfiguring everything. And I was thinking, I could take a picture of my background and then like while my studio's blown up, just put the green screen up and like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And like nobody would know while I'm reviewing.
It makes a huge difference having the footage, having the square
Yeah.
footage to do, to put together dedicated sort of scene spaces. Like, that's the dream. Like when we get to that point, and
God.
we have like do what Linus did, have an industrial space,
Yep.
and just like Aiden and I are gonna build some killer sets. I
Yeah.
love that stuff.
That's the literally the dream, right?
But to do that in a studio, as Aiden said, like I've spent the better part of the last 2 weeks reconfiguring my room for
Yeah.
like several hours a day
for a single piece of gear.
well, but I was using the opportunity to update a lot of things. Like,
That's fair.
the entire sort of power distribution of the desk has been rejigged. The audio lines are more pure now because I've kept them the fuck away from power as much as possible.
Yep.
But, it's a lot. To reconfigure a room, especially when it's as built out as Aiden's room is or my room is, they're not super flexible. They're not, it's not super modular. So having a dedicated space when we get to that point, it'll be cool.
There's going to be a lot of things, but will say the first stop is going to be an office space that we can kind of paint a wall and put a backdrop. We're not going industrial first because when you go industrial, the startup on that, you're looking at about 40,000.
Well,
because,
and also the space has very little power distribution, very little climate
yeah, and
control.
you have to do all of that yourself.
Yeah, I can do electrical. So
Yeah.
that's not a problem.
No, but you're still paying for all the lumber for the backdrops.
Yeah, the lumber,
and all that.
HVAC.
Like, oh yeah, HVAC. I have an HVAC. My father-in-law has an HVAC.
Even like a proper Ethernet, like internet distribution, like you're getting the up to the size where you need to put access points.
Yeah.
And again, there's no company that's delegating that for you. You've got to do
I'm
that
actually
yourself.
pretty good with that stuff. Also,
Yeah, I'm good with
I'm
that
calling Glenn too. Streamlabs.
totally.
Streamlabs. That's one I've been drinking a little bit. Don't mind me. Symmetrics 422 hardware AGC leveler. Nice. Symmetrics. That's broadcast quality stuff.
It is. It's not the most reliable, somewhat ironically. I had 3 528Es.
I've got one now.
I had 3 528Es 2.5 years ago. Now I've got one. And it works. It works great. I just reintegrated it into the setup, and it's still everything is in prime tip-top shape.
I need to set that up with I just haven't. Action podcast. This is interesting. I just learned about LUFs this week for podcast uploads. I was thoroughly fucking confused. That is, yeah, like once you start getting listeners that are like, hey, I don't want to ride the volume on my car stereo. Could you please kind of level everything off? And once you figure that out, you will have a lot happier of a listenership.
I will say to anybody that's doing any kind of content, particularly for digital consumption, which I think anybody is making content now for digital consumption, invest in a good loudness meter. A great example is Ulian loudness meter. It's one that I use. I have the main version is free. It will give you your integrated measurement. It will give, and it works for any DAW.
Yeah.
And because you need to know those metrics. When you're outputting something for digital, every platform is a little different. So you need to know what your true peak limitations are, what your integrated limitations are, what your kind of your short term, your overall cadence is. And you can't. Adobe gives you a lot. Audition gives you a lot of stuff to work with in terms of figuring it. Like your amplitude statistics, pay attention to that tab. That's a really important tab. But if you're in another DAW, like especially if you're in something like Audacity, does Audacity have like
I have no. You're
Arcaz
asking the wrong
support or
fucking
anything?
guy, man.
I was gonna say I don't
I've
know.
avoided Audacity like the.
Yeah,
Hinge-
I generally do. I know there are some people here that use Audacity. That's why I bring it up. So if you're in something like Audacity, buying a loudness meter probably won't help you. If somebody knows how to get VSTs into Audacity, maybe it's doable. I don't know.
Yeah. Hint to shrimp. Yo, love the setup, boys. Thanks, man.
Hey.
This is Dylan's living room.
This is my living room.
And Greg.
And a joint venture of gear.
Yeah, Greg Elgie. Yes, I'm new down the 401 on the other side of Toronto. Nice. Yeah, we've all lived along that corridor.
Yes, we have.
I Like It UK. This is an interesting one. Do you know if Rode will have a phone app to control the Rode Videocaster switching? They do already. They have Rode Central for your phone, and you can use it to remotely control the Rode Videocaster. I haven't set mine up yet. Actually, when I read that, I went and looked on, and I'm still on Please Connect a Rode device. I have a feeling once I USB connect it and then set it up, I think it would be remote. Because one of the things that, go to a camera angle of me, one of the things that I noticed with the Rodecaster Video, and it freaked me out the first time, was turned it on, I got going, and I started like playing with it, and then I realized it's not hooked to my computer. And that's because it's got like, it literally, it's wireless connectivity to your computer. So that means it's going to be wireless connectivity to your phone. I think you just got to hook it up with the USB-C. Again, this is the kind of stuff that I never got around to actually like explaining in the video because there was just so much. And I saw a lot of people like Tom Buck had like a 30-minute long video on it. And like, I get nervous when I'm getting close to 20 minutes because I know people aren't watching all 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I'm droning. I feel like I'm including too much small stuff. And so I really start to try to condense. And I know it's probably something I need to work on rather than I need the viewership to work on. But even still, I still only have a 6-minute average view retention for that video.
Yeah,
so like there's a reason why I keep my videos a little shorter. Although on the commercials, I'm making bank on that video,
I
man.
think you still did well though for the content that you had to cover.
Yeah.
And again, doing that in a way that's concise and also clear, right? And having you've got a lot of visual tricks up your sleeve, like your infamous definitions.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Well, there's a ton of stuff that you can do, right? Like
yeah, have that flexibility. You just got to be smart about it.
Well, and that's the thing. Like I like active videos, not active in a way where they're like bam, bam, bam. Like somebody complained about the fact that I had transitions in my video where you had like the moving screen. And I'm like, well, if you're doing a talking head video describing the features of a unit, you need that stuff.
Yeah, well, again, like right now, like there's people probably noticing, like I am doing, I'm waiting for the comment that's like you would fail as a stage manager, but like I'm not following like a real world, like I'm going to weird camera angles. Well, but I'm trying to demo this thing, and so obviously sticking, showing you guys what we can do with it, some of the overlays. I was gonna say I know one of these does the overlays.
Hin says, "Oh my God, they're so far behind the chat." I know.
Yeah. Well, and this is the thing, right? That's the one downside to us being live is when we're over a webcam feed. We are. I'm actively looking at the chat all the time, so we're constantly keeping on top of
Bangs, Lifestyles of the Geek and Nerdy. That's $2 super chat. Thank you very much, you Bangs. I appreciate the money. Definitely feed my heroin. I mean, my feeding the children. Addiction, of feeding my family. Appreciate that. And yeah, that's actually a great name for a podcast. I don't know if we have to pay Bangs for that now.
Can we back up? Did you say you're addicted to feeding your family? That's a great statement.
Yeah, right? Like they constantly need food.
Speaking of great statements, I just want to, this is totally off topic. I learned a great word this week. For those that don't know, Herkel-Durkel. It's a very old, over a century old Scottish term that basically means to lounge around in bed for a while until it's time to get up.
So, and when you brought this up when I came over, and the first thought was, well, I like to sit in my bed and hang out on my phone and scroll through Twitter.
That's Herkel-Durkling, man.
100 years ago, what were they doing while they hung out in bed?
Honestly, there are times, especially when I first wake up, I just lie in bed and think.
Maybe they read a book.
Or read a book.
What a thought, eh? All right, so we're catching up with chat here. Kind Kind of freaked out. Seeing you have 2 legs. Was convinced you only had upper bodies.
Yeah, right.
I know.
Yeah, it's not really a talking head. This is a talking body. My shot's a little bit. There we go.
I feel like the Wi-Fi being used for the overlay links might be a patchable idea. Feels like it at least. Possible. I'm going to see what Rode does with a lot of this stuff.
Again, I have a lot of faith because we've seen it so many times. We've seen it with Rode.
I also know they're watching every piece of content. I know the Peter is watching every piece of content. They are so fucking invested in making sure that the product reflects what the audience wants from it. And this is why, like, it took them a year or maybe about 9 months to come out with virtual channels. And I was talking to the guy at Rode, and he said, well, the infrastructure of the setup of the Rodecaster series didn't allow them to just throw virtual channels in. It wasn't a matter of just like, okay, here's some virtual channels. They had to go in and redo a lot of the internal infrastructure of the Rodecaster.
And it's again, a lot of this boils down to a company that is investing in all their own infrastructure. When you outsource your software development, when you outsource your hardware designs, as a lot of the more inexpensive companies generally do, you have less control. You have less control. You have less oversight over every step of the process from start to finish. It's a lot easier from a business standpoint to do it that way, but you can't achieve the same results for the same end day dollar amount. They say a brand is a promise consistently kept. I think Rode has demonstrated that. Their promise is hey, we're gonna take care of you.
Also,
we're gonna
just
listen.
like, if you want to do audio,
Yeah.
here you go. Anybody can jump in.
Yeah, I should say that none of this is sponsored. Neither one of us are paid by Rode. This is my genuine opinion of the company. This is my genuine opinion based on what I've seen of their products.
Okay, we got a couple good ones.
Yep.
We're over an hour here. We're going to be coming to an end,
the other
so
problem.
we can eat food and my camera doesn't die. Enterprise networking used to be one of my day jobs. It's SR375. I might give you a call one of these days. Your stepdad is an HVAC. Oh boy, your mother has some unique taste.
We're getting a lot of. I love it. Perfect.
Yeah, it used to be an HVAC. She
Well,
somehow got a
crowdsource.
child out of that. Liz routing the DAW to Unify Easy. Is routing the DAW to Unify Easy? Yes. The DAW to Unify. I don't know. Haven't tried. Stay with me. I'll find out. I like it. I like this. This is one of my favorite. Rode should have a companion app that can be run on tablet where the chat feed messages can be chosen and streamed to the Videocaster along with the on-screen buttons for muting, switching. I'm buying an iPad soon because I want to get more into that concept with streaming, especially. When you're doing this kind of stuff, even in my basement setup where I've got a laptop where this is where all the chat is. This is like, you can actually see, this is kind of Inception here. I can see the whole thing. I can see the chat. This is what I use every week while I'm doing the live stream. But all of a sudden when I go to use the Elgato, the small little thing, I'm looking at a screen that's that big. So like, I would love to be able to separate some of this and put it on different screens. I noticed with Mac, you can like run your one to the next, so you can literally seamlessly go between systems with your mouse.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
without
oh shit,
third-party hardware or anything.
But then I can't put screens up in front of me because I'm on screen.
Yes.
So there's a lot of things that I would love to be able to. An iPad is going to be, that's where I like move the chat over to the iPad, and I really am looking forward to doing that. Cool studio vibe. Wilf Clegg likes the living room look.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice and it's very, very relaxing. It's got this like warm vibe to the live stream.
Especially with we opted to go, we could have gone for regular like mic boom stands, but we opted to go for broadcast arms. I thought it'd be more appropriate.
I think this is a typo. Well, that went to clean Doritos goo off my screen and went live. Oh, you went live by accident. Oh.
Nice.
Yeah, are you sure it was Dorito goo?
It's when he said goo. That's what tripped me
Yeah,
up.
I don't want to know what you're doing with your Doritos there, Action Popcast. Just saying. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Scan through the inputs again there, Dylan.
Yeah.
Show them our feet. Got to see feet are free.
Yeah. Feet are free.
Feet are free on this stream. No OnlyFans
free.
whatsoever.
You had a little foot action there.
Oh, yeah.
There's my foot.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go. And then we got our my favorite angle.
That's got 21% left. Yeah, the cameras are starting to die.
Nice.
I got to start getting some better.
Can you kill that overlay somehow? That battery power overlay. It's good to know, but
I don't know. I haven't really invested a lot of time into this stuff. To be perfectly honest,
you just got it kind of for this project. So
see, a lot of the things that like to curate something like this, and this is. Remember way back when I'm like, what should our podcast be called? It's because I was looking at a Rodecaster video going, oh, fuck, I want to do something with this. Like,
and so, as I said many times in the stream, this is a very, this is a very rough, rough stream. Not as rough, I feel, as we normally are, but we're normally sort of over webcam. The dynamic is different. Obviously, our presentation in this case is a little different.
We got, okay, so one, Jerker, I have no idea what WikiFeed is, and I'm a little concerned you do, but apparently there's a WikiFeed entry for the two of you.
Nice.
I'm going to let you handle that, Jerker.
Feel free to, do what you got to do.
Just going to move on from that. And then we got, Richard, we'll get to you in a second. Tristan Salter, this is my road contact at the moment. No stealing him. He's all mine. Hayden, Tristan from Road here. Love your work. What's your number one feature request now? Oof.
Oh yeah. All right. On the hot seat.
There's a couple. The first would be a hardware mute, something that you can hardware mute mics. So like when you're planning to go live to stream, let me just move this over here. Let's go to this. This was our background. An AI generated picture, and then we had this going over top. There
it's
you
so
go.
Cool that they just people can't see it right now, but the unit reflects whatever he's remote controlling of it, so I can kind of get visual feedback of what Aiden's doing right now.
This was our background, and I wanted to have our mics muted before we were going live, and I want to just be like hit the mic mute, and then we can go live and we can switch right over to like that. There we go.
Yeah.
Friday Live, or we can turn that off and go to this scene. So having like that hardware instead of having to shuffle through on the software end of things to unmute and that kind of stuff would be nice. That would probably be my number one right now. The other thing is, and I don't know a lot of people, I'm going to be talking about this in the video coming up on Monday. I'm talking about why the Rodecaster Pro or Rodecaster Video isn't a 4K streaming device or a 4K switcher, and that's for obvious reasons. But one of the things that a lot of people are like, why doesn't it have 4K input? And I found out by accident that I recorded my review of the Rodecaster Video in 4K. But it wasn't. It was downsampled, obviously, by the Rodecaster Video. So the Rodecaster Video does have 4K input capabilities. Whether or not it's a feature that's being advertised by Rode. So I think being worked on that, like making sure that that's a stable environment for the Rodecaster Video, or a stable experience for the Rodecaster Videos, having 4K input that can be downsampled would be really nice, because downsampled 4K is always going to be better than 1080p. Just kind of, a standard 1080p. Anyways, that's the kind of stuff that I would love to see. There's other things that I mentioned in the video that, like the ability to change the borders. So, and this was one of those things when I went in and I started playing with the borders. I'm going to change the border right now, and I would like to be able to change the border on both. So, like individually. And you can't do that right now. And it's little things like that a live border would also be cool. So a border that actually lights up when somebody's talking, little things like that.
Yeah. Dynamic borders.
Yeah. So more control over little things like that, like borders, like little to really cap off.
A little
stuff.
flourish.
Yeah. But other than that, like, I say all this stuff and then it's like, but actually I love it the way it is. You know, it's like I have no qualms with this thing.
Yeah, I honestly, for again $1,200, it's for a lot of people's hefty price tag. So good to acknowledge that. But the value proposition here,
Yeah.
with this product out of the gate, and the user experience,
Yeah.
right, the UX of this.
Oh, I remembered another thing, Tristan. The ability.
I know you said one thing, but
The ability to switch up, or not switch up, but to add things to a single overlay. So like when you look at this overlay that we have, if I were to go into the overlay, like the setup of this overlay, I can't just drag and drop another thing onto this overlay. Like if I wanted to, like, oh, I forgot to put my logo on there. I can't just drag and drop a logo. I would have to swap to another overlay that has my logo as well as this. So to be able to layer overlays would be great. Other than that, yeah, that's fine. That was more than one request. You only get one. you only get, you bastard.
Yeah. No, but again, like there's lots of ideas that people are coming up with that are really great for the product. But like right now, is there anything that like needs to change?
No.
Right, and I think that's important.
Chat integration. I less than 3FGC. Yeah, somehow this is going to be longer term, and this isn't necessarily directed at you, Tristan. Chat integration with some sort of streaming of, and somebody brought up like a chat integration with an iPad, and I know that Rode is very Apple driven. I think that would be really cool, but that's kind of like a long term.
Yeah, and through something, I don't know, like again, dynamic overlays. We talked about that idea of having some integrations through that as a mechanism,
but I thank you. Also, Tristan, you must be drunk ass tired, man. If you're not, I don't know if you're based out of Australia or not, but if you're based out of Australia, it is like, I guess it's probably like 6 a.m. there or something like that. It's
on
late.
like a Saturday. I mean, that's
yeah, it's a Saturday. No, maybe it's 8 a.m. on a Saturday. But yeah, I appreciate you coming up, brother. And also, this is my new contact as well, Tristan. So he's going to be my new go-to. Outsider Jess, hello there. I was here the whole time. Didn't want to reset to comment because I was cooking up Oreo pancakes. Damn you, Jess. Can you bring me some?
yeah, we'd be down.
Would I share my address on live? Perhaps, if there's an Oreo pancake involved.
Except you're sharing mine. I would still share mine.
Same thing. All right, guys. Thank you for showing up for this long live. We usually don't go this long. I appreciate everybody coming out and hanging with us.
Yeah, let us know what you think too.
What do you think of the living room format, or just the in-person format?
Yeah, the in-person format, totally.
And we'll see you next week. Probably back to the old kind of setup.
The old style.
So, have yourself a great day, guys.
Ciao.